welcome back to Fan Corner, your favorite nerdy, unhinged podcast. Blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean. Joining us today is Jelaire. Woo!
Yay!
And we have Rachael, the face of Fan Corner. Woo!
Yay!
Brian and I can't get that right.
You can't?
I don't know why. Like, you and I slay it every time.
Because he's a man.
Because he's a man. I don't know. Something's off with the vibe. Last time I did call him my homie, though.
Oh.
And he was like,
Is
we've
that
been dating for 2 years. What do you mean?
I'm like, is that a me rubbing off on you thing?
I don't
know. Call everyone my homie?
I could see it. I could definitely see it. Okay. But today's a very exciting day because we're headed back into our Harry Potter Obscure Characters series.
I'm so excited.
And today is for the girls. We are giving justice to Lavender Brown, MVP. So stick around, but first we're going to do our high lows. Jelaire, what's your high today?
Oh, shoot.
I'm so sorry. We didn't prep this at all.
We did not prep that. My high, wow. I'm going to be simple. My high is that we're in fall season.
It's a beautiful high.
I love it. I went to Trader Joe's today with Rachel. I also went last week. And I'm eating all the pumpkin goodies. I've decorated my house. And it just feels so cozy.
Yeah.
And like you walk outside and it's the slightly cooler weather and it smells like fall.
It's so funny because it went from literally 100 degrees. I don't know why I edited myself.
I was like, why'd you do that?
It's actually kind of comical. 100 degrees in Utah, like for months. And then suddenly it was like 76. Like there was no in between. Like I'm not complaining, to be clear.
Yeah.
But like I was like, I kept waiting for summer to be cool enough to do summer things.
Right.
So I'm so excited it's fall, but like I'm also like, I never got to do summer things.
I mean, we went to a farmer's market today.
Oh, that's fair. That counts.
Yeah.
There were no fruits, but it said it was a farmer's market.
There was some, maybe because we went so late, it was all gone. I saw some straws, but you know, if we want to get a little technical, but yeah, what was your high?
My high is the next book in the Plated Prisoner series. I think that's what it's called. You know what I mean. Comes out on Tuesday, so it's just in a few days here, and that is a book series that I probably mentioned on the podcast, but I binge read in 3 days. I went so hard. There's like 8 of them. They're thick. It was like
it's books. A big stack.
Yeah, and I just like did not mess around. It's based off of Midas's Touch. It's a retelling of that sort of thing. And it's the first book was like I was a little nervous at first because you know dark romance is a thing. And I was like, is this the kind of dark romance where she ends up with the messed up abusive man or no?
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like, how dark are you going? You know what I'm saying? But it ended up being like this like healing journey for this character and like her coming into her own and her power and like realizing the ways that she's been used for her powers her whole life and like whatever. Because in this retelling, Midas actually doesn't have a gold touch. He stole like a woman has the gold touch and he uses it. Like he uses her and pretends that it's his own to become king.
Okay.
And so yeah, it's like actually it's like so good.
Okay.
So I'm just really excited about that.
Yeah, we love when we're actually excited for book releases.
It's so rare that I read like on the actual release because I feel like you get caught up in other things.
Totally.
I've almost been hesitant to read anything else because I've discovered them like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I haven't wanted to read since because I'm like I don't want to be like caught up in something else.
Yeah. Because I remember we both were excited for the second Fourth Wing book, and then we both immediately did not read it for months. Literally months.
By the time I got my hands on it, to be fair, I'd seen negative things on TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
And so it kind of like impacted me. I was like, I don't know. And then I think it's way better than book 1, so that's actually really funny, actually.
Yeah.
LOL. Okay, but what's your mid?
Oof. Mid?
The people want to know.
The people want to know. Mid? What is my mid?
Stupid boys. Maybe.
Boys are stupid.
Boys are stupid.
We'll just leave it at that because that's a good one. That's a good,
great
consistent mid. Boys are stupid.
I'm like mad just thinking about it. My mid is I had a really hard weekend last weekend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It could play into a high for that. I surprised Rachel at the airport.
It was so cute. Like, it was, I did scream though, so that was kind of funny.
But it was a good scream.
Yeah, I wasn't actually, I don't know. Sometimes if I scare you, I'm actually scared, but I just don't think I knew what to do with the information my brain was receiving. And they brought me a big, actually it's right here, so I'm going to put it on the screen. They bought me the big duck that we've all seen on TikTok. That screen grab's going to be great.
That's the title card.
Yeah, so she's like clutching that and snacks.
She's a witch.
She is a witch. She like goes with the whole...
The vibes.
Yeah, the vibes. Exactly. It's spooky. It's very wizarding. Yeah, I love it. We love to see it.
Yeah.
And then next week, I'm going to tag onto your highs because I want you to talk about it.
Yeah.
Next week, she's going to Fan X in Salt Lake City, so that's exciting.
That is a good high. Man, we didn't prepare our high mid, so I was like, I don't know, anything goes. It's
actually impressive anything came out of our mouth.
I know.
We're the worst at high mids. I actually don't even know why we do them.
Well, no, we're pretty good. I think they're fun.
They're always fun, but if we don't prep them, we both just are like...
We're both like, what? Like...
We cut more because of that. Like, I don't have to edit us a ton, but that's where I have to edit us.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. Fan X in Salt Lake is this coming week. I go all 3 days. I cosplay, do the things, and I'm excited.
That's amazing.
The thing I'm most excited about is that there are voice actors from Baldur's Gate 3.
Sure.
They're going to be there. And the voice actors from Has Been Hotel as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So, are you going to meet them? Or see them in panels?
Well, yeah. So I'm going to go to panels. I have a photo op with my friends with the Has Been Hotel voice actors.
Sure.
One of the Baldur's Gate actors, I'm going to meet him and have him sign a piece of art that I have.
Yeah.
So that's going to be great.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
These are great high mids.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of us. Well, so I think we should get into the main topic.
Let's go. That's what people are here for.
Okay, so we're talking about Lavender Brown today.
Yes.
And I think it's important to note, just like with Percy, there's a certain perception.
There really
for this
is.
Character.
There is a perception, and it's not a great one.
It's not a great one. And it's funny because, like, I think even if you're younger, when you question why you don't like this character, like Percy, I think, you have to work to get there, you know. Mm-hmm. But this character, it's literally just internalized misogyny.
Period.
There's not a single damn reason to hate this woman.
No, there really isn't. And it's kind of like when we were talking about Percy, when you watch the movies, you're kind of like meant, like it's kind of framed to make you hate her.
Sure.
I feel like in the 6th movie, you're framed to hate Lavender Brown.
Okay, but what's funny is even if we just talk about the movie, because I think this is a great point.
Yeah.
Just talk about the movie. She's very girl's girl, right? Yeah. She has like a cute little bandana in her hair.
Yeah, she's being cute.
She's definitely a little more pink coated than a lot of the characters we see in Hogwarts.
Right.
Gumbridge notwithstanding. But she, she just clearly likes girly things. We see her do the cute, we all remember this when she draws the heart. Like when she breathes on the glass to draw a heart for Ron and things like that.
I'm like, she's 16. She's just trying to be cute.
Yeah, like, what about that is so inherently, like, annoying?
Yeah.
Like, I think she's fucking adorable.
She is cute.
Okay, so this is really funny. When I went to the Harry Potter Symphony a few years ago.
Yeah, we both went. I was at that one with you.
You were at that one with me?
Yeah, I went with the 6th movie one.
With that idiot boy?
Yes.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I forgot completely. I think it was... Oh my god, I do remember that. Yeah. He was like a total idiot about sitting with us for like no reason.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. He was an idiot. So I was dating this guy at the time, and he went with us, and he... I cracked a joke at some point. I was like, oh no, I feel like I might be like, because at the time I internalized misogyny. I feel like I might be a little like Lavender Brown, because I think I was having this realization. I was like, she's not annoying. She's just cute.
Yeah, she's just cute and bubbly.
Like I was kind of like, just looking at it through a different lens, and he like guffawed and like could not stop laughing, and he was like, "Yeah, you are," and it was clearly like in an like I'm annoying way. Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I just.
Well, that's why you're not with him anymore.
That is why I'm not with him. He's a bad man. But so anyway, Lavender Brown, it's interesting because a lot of what she does is just fun, bubbly, upbeat, trying to show Ron that she cares about him in different ways.
Yeah.
What about that is so inherently annoying? Nothing.
There's nothing annoying about it.
I get why maybe that's like cringe maybe for Harry.
Oh yeah,
who's like
Harry's like witnessing a lot of it.
Well, Harry's witnessing it, and like again, I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that. Mm-hmm. I think Harry's just angsty right now. He's not with Jenny yet.
No,
and so I think it's just he doesn't know how to handle.
There's more important things happening than like Ron's love life.
Sure. And I think it's like kind of weird for him, which obviously Lavender doesn't know a lot of those things.
Yeah, she has no reason.
How could she know that Harry is having like defeat the Dark Lord lessons with Albus Dumbledore? Like, she couldn't know that. And so he's talking about these serious things, and it's kind of like cringe. But I also think it's just that moment when your friends start to be in relationships, and it's like kind of awkward because he has not experienced that really yet.
Yeah.
He had that like semi thing with Cho, but I don't even know if we could call that a thing. It was like one kiss and a very bad date.
Go listen to our Justice for Cho Chang episode.
I fucking love Cho Chang. We should do an entire episode about her, honestly.
Yeah, we should.
Okay. But Lavender Brown, right? Well, let's start with what we know about her, right? Yeah. Long before she dates Ronald Weasley, what do we know about Miss Brown?
She's a fellow Gryffindor.
Yep. And Lions represent. It was not on purpose we did 2 Gryffindors in a row. We were literally just purposely like, what's not a depressing character to pick?
No, for real.
We'll do a depressing one next.
Yeah. And we know that she loves Professor Trelawney in her class
so much.
Yeah,
she's very into divination.
Yes,
I feel like that's maybe our first like real like getting to know Lavender is through divination class in third book.
Yeah,
and she's very hyped for everything Trelawney says. Worships this woman, her and Pavarti, and it's interesting to watch because like Hermione finds that incredibly annoying. Hermione hates divination.
Yeah, like
categorically. And okay, we can, 2 things can be true at once.
Right.
The way Trelawney teaches divination is bullshit.
Yeah.
But that does not mean it's a bullshit branch of magic.
Totally.
Like, it's clearly not, because we had that prophecy about Harry Potter and Voldemort.
Yeah. Totally.
Just clearly, right?
Clearly.
So both can be true. And so I think like, it's interesting because I think like divination, prophecy, ball stuff, like tea leaf reading, tarot cards, astrology.
Yeah.
Right? Those are all very, in a lot of ways, I mean, I do think in our society, even today, we attribute those to women more now than we do to men.
Right.
And men often are very dismissive of it.
Right.
Very like, oh, why would you need to know my star sign? You know? And it's interesting because like, I'm not as into astrology as a lot of women. But like, shut up. Everyone just has different ways of framing things. It's not that serious.
Yeah, I think like maybe like why Hermione hates it is because it's not something factual.
Sure.
You know, at least like in her eyes. You know, it's not a tangible, factable thing.
I think Hermione hates it because she can't fucking do it.
That too. I mean,
like,
I would say that's maybe like the big one. But then maybe there's a root of like, oh, it's not a tangible thing she can just read from a book.
I think it's something she... Now, to be fair, again, in Hermione's Grace, Trelawney is terrible at it.
Right.
Except for those very rare times where she doesn't even remember she's given prophecies. But in Hermione's mind, I think she's frustrated because it's not... Yeah, it doesn't feel like a real science.
Totally.
But it is clear in the text that this is a real science. Divination is a real thing. I just don't think Trelawney's good at it.
Yeah. And it's something that Lavender and Parvati are good at and naturally gravitate towards. And that's why they are supportive. Like, they love her as a professor. Yeah. You know?
It's very interpretive. It's very artsy in a lot of ways. It's almost like a creative. It's a more creative magic than anything else. Because potion making, now if you're the Half-Blood Prince, aka Severus Snape, you maybe are going off and doing your own thing.
Right.
But even potion making, which I've heard some people try to argue is creative in the past, if you're just in your classes at Hogwarts, you're just following the recipe.
Yeah, you have to be textbook. Like, you're just following the textbook. You're following the recipe.
Like, you're probably not deviating. And so you're not taught, at least, to know how to even do that.
Yeah.
Like, what are the sort of parameters for doing that? And so I think this is one of the only places we see Hogwarts students get to express creativity, artistry, whatever. And I think it makes a lot of sense why these girls really go for that. And I think Hermione looks down on it because, she sucks at it. And I also think it's more feminine. I think it's Hermione's internalized misogyny.
Probably.
Because she's written by a misogynistic woman, to be fair.
Truly.
LOL.
LOL.
But so we see Lavender really care for Trelawney. And I think this ends up being really relevant later as well. It just like frames who Lavender is a little bit. Girl's girl.
Yeah.
But later we see when Trelawney gets kicked out.
Yeah.
Or attempted to be kicked out of Hogwarts. She's no longer a professor because Umbridge publicly
humiliates her,
and tries to make this woman homeless, like, immediately.
Period. And it's
immediately
horrifying.
Where's the eviction laws? I don't know. Where's the protections? Not even 24 hours notice, just
period, just like beat. Okay.
But like we literally do see that Lavender and Pravarti go to visit Trelawney and to comfort Trelawney.
Yeah,
that is
bring
mentioned.
Her flowers and
daffodils.
Yeah, they bring her daffodils.
That's so
and
cute.
They make a comment that it's not like the ones that like laugh at you that like they see in herbology. Like that's specifically in the text because I just looked at it and
that's actually really iconic.
No, it's great because it specifically says like not
ones.
the ones that or Professor Sprout has, like legit daffodils.
Wouldn't that be so funny? Like someone's like really sad, you bring them flowers, and then the flowers are laughing at you.
Oh my gosh,
they're heckling you,
dude. That'd be awful.
You're like, this is my worst nightmare.
Yeah, and like so they go visit her because they care about her.
Yeah,
they've established this bond. And
I think that's really beautiful. Like, I mean, now obviously Hermione doesn't have a relationship with them, so I'm not like saying Hermione should have done it or Harry or Ron, but I also do think like you don't have to be close with Trelawney. It's like McGonagall sticking up for Trelawney. We know that McGonagall hates divination.
Oh yeah,
that's a fact.
Yeah,
but like it's very clear that like
she cares about her. That
she realizes, oh, this is messed up. This woman needs my empathy, and so I think like those girls finding a way to do that, I think that's so key. Honestly.
It is. And it's not something we really see happen in Hogwarts either.
No, not really. And it was just really beautiful. And I think it goes to show, because again, we don't have a lot of info about some of these characters we're going to be doing. Yeah. So we have to conjecture. Infer. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think we can infer from this that like Lavender's a very caring, loyal friend, very empathetic, very whatever. And like, okay, and then we get into the funny thing. So we get a new divination teacher.
Yeah, friends.
He's an icon. He's a legend. He is a centaur.
Yeah.
And he's a hot centaur. That is key context.
Key. A lot of people start going to class because he's hot. Like, I mean, I don't blame them.
And Hermione has so much derision for that, right?
Yeah.
She's like, but like, okay, be serious. Like that's kind of fun.
It is fun.
And also, like, objectively, the centaurs are very close to the stars in an interesting way, as we know.
No,
so that would be cool.
That would be really cool. It's an interesting perspective to have.
Yeah. Especially, like, they have no teachers. Oh, well, okay.
Yeah.
Hagrid's half giant.
Yeah.
But people don't, that's not like,
that's not like broad public knowledge.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They don't have any teachers that are magical creatures.
Yeah.
That aren't just witches and wizards.
Yeah.
Except this one. And I think that's such an important perspective for these young witches and wizards.
100%. And wasn't even like Ferenz like kind of outcast a little bit?
Absolutely.
For becoming like a professor? Because there's...
Yeah, he was outcasted before that. But yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is Dumbledore saving his little ass.
Yeah. That too.
It's because he warns Harry.
Oh yeah.
Like there was the first book where he kind of protects Harry from Voldemort, right? And then later he says something else to Harry. He says dark forces are gathering, or like he says something cryptic that like Harry's like, what does that mean? Which is a vibe, honestly.
Yeah, like
and it really pisses the centaurs off.
Yeah.
It feels like a betrayal of their kind.
Yeah, that's what because I remembered it felt like top 10 betrayals, and they're like, see ya. Yeah,
which to be fair, I mean, it's key context that there had been a lot of laws specifically championed by Miss Dolores Umbridge, fun fact, that keep like taking what centaur lands are and then diminishing them. So we're talking about a group of people where, like, I mean, the ministry is systematically trying to go for genocide. I think we're one or two steps away.
Yeah, no, 100%.
So I think it does make sense why his people are upset. But I think Ferenz knowing, like, okay, it's going to be worse under Voldemort.
No, period.
Like,
yeah, like, okay, come on. But
yeah, but just, it's an important context.
No, totally.
I don't want people to think centaurs are evil.
Yeah, But, like, even then, like, it's still exciting that it's happening.
It's so exciting. I think, like, that perspective's so key. I think that is hot is fun.
It is fun.
I think...
We all enjoy a hot teacher sometimes.
It's a fantasy. It's fine.
It's fine.
And no one was inappropriate about it. That's very key context. Yes. But I do think, like, it makes sense that adds a layer of fun. And I think Lavender admitting that out loud and not just, like,
That makes her
being
so
secretive.
real.
Yeah, she's being a real one.
Yeah.
Hermione's too cool for that.
No, period.
Like, it's like
Hermione was like, oh, that horse? And then Lavender's like, you mean a centaur?
Oh.
Okay, because we all know Hermione knows that he's a centaur.
Absolutely.
So...
I think the only way to read this scene, right? Because literally, Parvati and Lavender are like, oh, I bet you regret quitting divination, huh?
Yeah.
And Hermione's like, no, I don't like horses.
Yeah. Calm down, bitch.
Calm the fuck down. The only way I can think of to make sense, because we know that Hermione cares a lot about magical species having their rights.
Totally.
I think she was letting her catty, like, pick-me girl energy coming out in this moment.
Yeah.
She was just trying to take these girls down a peg, and this is the way she chose to do it, to be casually fucking racist.
Yeah.
It's really bad, and I think it's just so iconic that Lavender smacks back that hard, that fast. Like, I think it shows the integrity of this character.
Totally.
That, again, we don't know a lot about, right? Like this isn't being politically correct. This is, like, acknowledging what someone is.
Period.
Like, the bar is on the floor, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
And how cool is that, too, where Hermione's such a know-it-all or whatever.
Exactly.
For Lavender to smack back, I think is pretty cool.
No, it is great, because...
Hermione's a prefect at this point, too, so...
Yeah.
So, like, there's even, like, a power dynamic, you could argue, as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are the things we knew about Lavender, and she was in Dumbledore's Army as well.
Yeah, she was in the DA.
Yep. Before we get to dating Ronald Weasley. And then, obviously, this is where we get a lot more Lavender. So this is where it gets more interesting.
Yeah, because prior to that, she's casually mentioned in the scenes we talked about were in class. You know, like most side characters, you know.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, she comes to the forefront of everyone's minds, and everyone recognizes who she is in the story because she has a relationship with Ron.
Yep.
And, like, it all starts so suddenly, like, their relationship, because like they just won. Was it the Quidditch Cup that they won?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, they won the Quidditch World Cup.
Because
they wish they won the Quidditch Cup. And
because Ron finally saves a goal for the first time in his life.
Yeah, and they're all like, Weasley is our king, woo! And you know they're partying in the common room, and Lavender Brown decides to go kiss him.
Technically,
yeah.
I'm not trying to call you out.
No, it's okay.
We don't know that it's Lavender that did that. We just know that they're suddenly snogging.
Okay. I didn't reread the
That's
scene,
totally,
so I'm just like inferring.
I just wanted to tell you that because I do think, like, because in the movie they kind of push this narrative that, like, Lavender chases Ron.
Yeah.
It's written, which to be fair, then kind of foreshadows it. So, you know, pro con.
Right.
Like, we see Lavender cheering for him when he's trying out for the Quidditch team, different things, but that was all added.
Yeah.
Like, that did not happen. So it is possible that Ron went for her. We don't know.
Yeah.
I think that's an important distinction.
No, that is important context.
So, because I feel like where people think she's so annoying and clingy, it feels important to say.
100%.
But yeah, it goes down almost exactly like you remember from the movies where Ron and Lavender are making out.
Mm-hmm.
Hermione clocks this happening. And don't nuzzle the mic, my dude. Come here. My kitten is being saucy. Okay, so they're making out. Hermione flees the common room. Harry happens to see that, and so he goes to find her. Ron and Lavender, because
you know,
when it rains, it pours.
Yeah. They
stumble into the room where she has chosen to flee to cry and get away from them. They stumble in, and Lavender has that iconic line. This room's already occupied. Yeah. And, like, giggling, which is valid.
It's valid. Like, she's on a high. Like,
they're
both on a high. Like,
they're on a high from the Quidditch Cup, then there's making out. Like, it's a lot of highs.
It's a lot.
And, like, obviously, I don't think in that brief second she clocked that Hermione was crying.
Oh,
it didn't read that way at all.
Yeah, no.
So it's not, like, in a vindictive way, to be clear.
No.
And then Hermione, which, to be fair, is one of my favorite Hermione moments, Ron is just like, Ron actually is worse to her by far in the book than in the movie. Mm-hmm. In the movie, he kind of looks self-ashamed. Yeah. Because I think Ron is a better character in the movie by far than in the book. People always are like, well, it's because... Anyway, doesn't matter.
Not the time.
Not the time.
Everyone knows.
Anyway.
Everyone who's a listener knows.
Every time I read the books again, even these clips, I'm like, ah! Like, anyway. So Ron purposely ignores Hermione, like she doesn't exist, because they've been in like a tiff before this all went down.
Right.
And basically more or less the tiff is like, because Hermione doesn't understand what's happening. Like she doesn't understand why he's been so titchy with her, and then he's mad because of the Felix Felices.
And
like there's like all kinds of things he's really mad about. He's made her cry, but really he's mad that she made out with Victor Crumb years ago, and that she's still writing him.
Yeah.
And Harry literally thinks to himself, he's like, I don't know how to explain to her that he's mad about a thing from years ago, so I'm just not going to say anything. Which is valid.
That's fair.
Yeah, but like maybe call Ron out. Anyway.
Yeah, maybe tell your friend he's being dumb.
Yeah, tell him he's an asshole. It's fine. But so like, they've been in a tiff, but so he sees probably that she's been crying, but he chooses to look at just Harry and ignore Hermione. And Hermione iconically sends little birds after him. And Iconic. It's so good.
It's so good.
But then what's interesting in their relationship between Lavender and Ron is they basically snog all the time.
Yeah, it's a purely physical one that we're perceived to see.
That's all we see.
That's all we see. It's perceived to be a physical relationship.
That's just because, to be fair, Harry says, and I think this is why we get this impression, Harry mentions that Lavender seems to think any moment not face-sucking Ron is a waste of time.
Yeah.
So that's where that perception comes from.
Yeah, because again, Harry's POV, that's what we know.
That's what we know. But I would also imagine that any amount of face snogging his best friend is going to feel annoying.
Oh, yeah.
So I feel like that's kind of a hard thing to measure. Also,
Plus they're all in the same house. So you better believe they're probably making out in the common room.
Sure.
Also, oh my gosh, Lavender and Hermione probably share the same bed.
Absolutely they do.
Which that makes it
they're the same
fucking
year.
Awkward.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, and it's really interesting because obviously Hermione at this point hates Lavender.
Right. And
she doesn't want to be around anytime Ron's around, much less with Lavender.
Right.
She's always trying to escape that area. And I think a lot of that rage is directed at Lavender, but like Lavender didn't know there was a relationship kind of between Ron and Hermione. Because why would she know that?
Yeah, why would she know that? No one knows that.
Like, I know it's like they all hang out, but then you could argue she's into Harry Potter, Period. Like it's like a complicated thing. And if anyone's a villain here, it absolutely is Ron.
Yeah.
Because Ron is like arguing to Lavender. I mean, this is just what I'm inferring.
Yeah.
Because Harry says, they're snogging all the time, but that clearly can't be true, just physically. But also, there's a scene where Hermione laughs because Ron, while they're in this huge fight, Ron gives himself on accident a handlebar mustache, which to be fair is fucking funny. That would be funny if they were friends or if they weren't friends. Like, that's just objectively funny.
Yeah.
But then Ron takes it upon himself to turn to Lavender Brown and Parvati and start making jokes. And like he mimes and makes fun of Hermione like raising her hand.
Jeez, bitch.
Which I will have you all remember is what Ron initially made fun of Hermione for as well.
Yeah, in book 1.
So it makes it, I think, more of a sin.
Yeah, that's like repoking at trauma that he inflicted.
Absolutely. But from Lavender's perspective, which is really interesting, because she's laughing. Her and Parvati are laughing. Which Hermione hates Lavender. And she's hated Lavender long before Ron. Because Lavender's too girly pop for her, right? She's very dismissive of the things that Lavender finds important, like divination. That's going to cause beef, right? So I'm not blaming Lavender for laughing, but if Ron's making jokes like that to Lavender, I think it's fair for her to assume, like it feels performative on Ron's part.
Oh, totally.
He's almost like, that to me, I would guess that Lavender has asked about Hermione.
I mean, why wouldn't she? They're friends. Like, everyone knows Hermione and Ron are friends.
Yeah.
And
like, I bet she's seen how they're fighting. And I absolutely bet that she was like, hey, was there something between you two?
Yeah.
And I think Ron lied. And I think that's why he's being so performative about making fun of Hermione now.
No,
he's gaslighting his girlfriend.
Period. I believe that. Because
I don't know what his intentions
in the
would
text,
be otherwise.
We see, like we've said, Lavender is a kind, empathetic girly. So, and she's a smart girly.
Sure.
So, like, it makes sense that she'd be like, hey, what's going on here? Because, like, I mean, again, we're just inferring and putting our own stuff on there.
Sure.
But I would like to believe that she would ask about it in some way.
Sure. And, like, we see Ron say, right after the whole thing happens with the first kissing, when they first get together.
Yeah.
We see Ron tell Harry, because Harry's, like, staying out of it, so he's just not answering anyone about anything. But Ron says to Harry, he's like, well, it's not like I promised Hermione anything. I didn't make any promises. You know, we were going to go to the Slughorn party together, but... Which is crazy because, like, the Slughorn party, it's like, I don't know.
Because wasn't Ron not even invited to the Slughorn party?
Slughorn hates Ron.
Yeah.
He doesn't know his name.
Yeah.
Because, well, to be fair, Slughorn's an asshat. But, like...
But yeah, that's a different...
That's a different issue. But, so it's like, he wasn't invited. She invites him. Like, they're gonna go together. Like... That's a promise, bitch. You agreed to a plan. Mm-hmm. That's a promise.
Yeah, period.
If there was nothing in between you two, you would still be going with her.
Yeah.
As friends, even though you're dating Lavender now. Yeah. Unless Lavender told him not to, but I'm assuming that didn't happen because that's not what he says happened.
Yeah, exactly.
He just is suddenly like, oh, it's giving fuckboy energy. Oh, well, I didn't say we're committed. It's only been 2 years, but I didn't say it.
Oh my god.
That might have as well be what he said.
Might as well have been.
Like, honestly, like, it's crazy. And so from Lavender's perspective, I'm sure she's hearing Ron be like, no, like, there's nothing going on. Because that's what he's saying to Harry, so why would he not be saying worse things to Lavender herself?
Yeah.
And then we have this iconic scene. It's one of my favorite scenes, actually. The sixth movie slays.
The sixth movie's so good.
Everyone hates it, but I think it's
it's one of my favorites.
It's my absolute favorite.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite book, but it is my favorite movie. It is so funny. I think that's why people hate it. They're like, it's not a comedy. And I'm like, no, Harry Potter has always been a comedy.
No, like, literally the sixth one could be a romantic comedy.
Absolutely, it could.
Yeah.
It's dark, too, but it can be all of things.
It can be everything. Stuff for everyone.
So, Ron eats some cauldron cakes off Harry's bed.
Oh, yeah.
No, this isn't the time or place, but, why would you steal someone else's candy? Because he's a bitch. Anyway, so he gets love potioned.
Right.
And, you know, he almost dies then because Slughorn gives him wine that has been poisoned.
Yeah.
And when he's in the hospital, it deviates very dramatically. This is very important context. In the movie, Ron has that moment where he's in the hospital bed. He's like kind of like not with it. You know what I mean? And he's trying to say something. And they realize he's saying Hermione.
Yeah.
And Lavender Brown in the movie is holding his hand. She's like, Juan, it's going to be okay. I'm here. And then she hears Hermione. And obviously that's
devastating.
Devastating. And she runs away. And then...
I mean, I would too.
Hermione's smug. And to be fair, I get it, girl. Like, you kind of are cheering for Hermione. But also she deserves so much better, so I'm not.
Yeah, no.
But when you're younger, you're cheering for Hermione. And that's more or less how they break up. Like, Ron, when he does wake up, is like, what happened between us? And they're like, it's a short conversation. Like, they don't really tell him.
Yeah.
That's not what happens in the book.
Yeah, let's
in
go
the
there,
book,
I don't remember.
He does say Hermione.
Yeah.
But Lavender is not in the room.
Oh.
So it makes it so that him and Hermione make up. But it does not make him and Lavender break up, if that makes sense.
Does Ron know that he said Hermione?
He does not know that he said that. He just knows that now Hermione is being nice to him again.
Okay.
Even though he's not apologized for anything.
Bitch.
He is literally the smallest man who ever lived. It's fine.
That man doesn't apologize for shit.
He's horrible. Okay, so he basically, and it gets worse. So he says Hermione, they've made up, but Lavender doesn't know. And so the text talks about how Lavender was kind of pissed that no one thought to call her when Ron was
so fair.
Very valid, honestly. Because, like, yeah, she thinks she has this relationship with Ron. Harry, in his mind, is like, this is not a serious thing because Ron's not talking about it that way.
Yeah.
Which sucks for Lavender. Do you know what I mean? But so he says, while Ron's in the hospital, Lavender keeps coming up to him and having long conversations with him about Ron's feelings. And Harry's like, kill me now. Like, you know, like he's like, it's literally worse than anything. But so she's like, well, is it a serious relationship or like different things? And then she's like, is Hermione still visiting him? And this is how I know that she knows that something's going on and that she's probably talked to Ron about it a few times. Because she's like, well, is Hermione still visiting him? And Harry doesn't know what to say because he clearly knows he was there when the Hermione got said. So he kind of knows.
Yeah.
Also, he's not an idiot.
Yeah.
And so he's like, well, yeah, but they're like friends, you know? And she's like, friends?
That's like the safe answer.
Totally. He's like, and Lavender's like, friends, be so serious. They haven't talked in weeks since we started dating.
Yes. Yeah.
Because Lavender's smart. She knows there's clearly something going on. But I also think the fact that she was like, no, they haven't talked in weeks. She clearly knows, and she's probably talked to Ron about it, that like something's not, the math ain't mathin'.
The math ain't mathin'.
The math ain't mathin'. I am sure this woman was lied to.
Oh, period.
And so then she says, and she mentions that Ron is always asleep when she goes to visit him in the infirmary. So, because Harry's like, we'll talk to him about it.
Which is a good answer for Harry to give.
Valid.
Be like, go actually talk to him. Like, don't talk to me. Like, it makes sense why she would go to his best friend.
Oh, it totally makes sense.
You know, but way to go, Harry, for being like, just go talk to him.
But yeah, apparently Ron is pretending to be asleep every single time.
Bitch.
And Harry knows that because every time he goes to the infirmary, Ron's like, what's up?
Yeah.
So he starts basically avoiding her, is more or less the plot. He mentions a few chapters later, he's like, how did you and Cho end it? And Harry's like, I don't know, it just kind of ended.
Yeah, he's like, it just kind of ended.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could say.
Well, Cho broke up with him is what the fuck happened.
That's what happened.
Actually, so it's funny, Harry still has no context on that. But, idiot. But, Ron's like, oh, I wish that would happen to me and Lavender, because the more I tell her, like, I don't know about us anymore, the more she clings.
Yeah.
It's like being in a relationship with he says something, but like some kind of magical
I think that's
creature.
Where, unless you moved your highlighter.
I moved my highlighter, because of course I did.
But it was highlighted.
It was so funny. But it's really sad because it's just so... He's like looking down on this woman so much. Because he's probably not saying, hey, I want to break up, because then they would just be broken up. He's probably saying, like, oh, I don't know. Like, he's kind of half leading her on. Like, he basically just, and he just avoids her at all times. Like, at one point, a girl walks around the corner, and Hermione's like, it's not Lavender. Because he's ducked behind a statue. Like, I think he basically was doing, and we've all experienced this, the classic male tactic of, like, oh, if I just treat this woman like shit for months, she'll eventually just break up with me. And then he doesn't have to be the bad guy. And I think it's so sad. And he at the same time is like, oh, when is Hermione going to come visit me? Because he has been in love with her the whole time. And he has been gaslighting Lavender the whole time. Mm-hmm. And so I feel really bad for her. Okay, what was the funny line? Even though it's a terrible thing to say.
The more I hint I want to finish it, the tighter she holds on. It's like going out with the giant squid. Ew.
What the
also,
fuck?
I came across another line. It's like right after Ron ate the cauldron cakes.
Sure.
And so Lavender sees him and says, you're late. I've got you a birthday. Like, and then she gets cut off. So she got him a gift. And he's like, leave me alone. Harry's going to introduce me to Romilda Vane.
Oh, which to be fair, he was on the love potion.
Yeah, no, like he had already been on the love potion.
So he thinks he's in love with Romilda, yeah.
Yeah, but still!
Yeah, no, but that just shows how serious their relationship was.
Yeah.
She's buying him presents. She's planning her days around him.
Said Lavender was waiting outside the portrait hole, a complication Harry had not foreseen.
That's so... Yeah, because it just shows that their relationship wasn't just physical. Like, I think that's what they want us to think, but it clearly wasn't just physical. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so I think it's just so upsetting. Like, I don't know. She really went through it with this man. Mm-hmm. You know, she was gaslit about Hermione. Clearly that's not true. They end up together. She was lied to repeatedly. She was never broken up with. I don't even think, to be honest with you.
We don't think they even officially broke up.
I don't even think he respected her as a human being.
Oh, absolutely not.
Calling someone a giant
squid. If he could barely respect Hermione,
that's fucking true.
If he could barely respect her, he did not respect Lavender Vane.
Drop that fucking mic, Jelaire. That is such a good point. That is such a good point.
Yeah.
So,
anyways,
all very interesting because like she never does anything bad or mean or anything.
She's just trying to be a good girlfriend.
Well, and even like she's not been broken up with yet.
No,
like no one's broken up with her. Why would she? Like, it's so interesting because if she'd then kiss someone else, we'd be like, oh my god, she's a cheating hoe.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just like this sexist, awful narrative. Mm-hmm. And then we don't see Lavender Brown again for quite some time.
Yeah, we don't. Which is a bummer.
Because the trio are like, peace.
They're like, peace, we're gonna go fight Voldemort now.
Valid plot line.
Which is, you know, the main point.
But you do feel bad because, I mean, I think Lavender went through a lot with this. This might have been her first relationship. I don't know.
I mean, it very easily could have been.
If not, I mean, it's like second.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, people like to be casual about making out. We live in Utah. So I know y'all have seen that Mormon Secret Life sub show, which is not accurate. But I will say there is this idea that making out is not a big deal. I do think, like...
I don't subscribe to that.
No, me neither.
A lot of people
Me neither.
Do, which I think is gross.
It's sort of like instead of hooking up, the way some people would mean hooking up, it's like making out. And I think, I think a lot of people are very casual about it, especially non-Mormons.
Yeah.
Are very casual about making out, but that's very intimate.
Yeah.
I think that would be incredibly upsetting for Lavender.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, I mean, that's potentially as far as she's gone.
Yeah. And, like, Ron didn't have the respect or decency to really communicate with her, even though he's saying, like, I tried to talk to him, like, I don't believe he even tried.
I don't think he did.
I don't think he actually tried. I think he's just saying that to get Hermione or Harry or whomever the flip-flap to get off his back.
Well, and clearly he didn't try to talk to her because he keeps physically dodging her.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? If he just broke up with her, she wouldn't still be like, hey, what's going on?
She wouldn't be like, trying.
This poor girl's just like, hey, what's going on? And he's like, won't tell her. And it's just so, I mean, I admire the persistence. I'm actually that girl. I had a guy once, the same guy that was an asshole to me about being Lavender Brown.
Yeah.
Months later, did not break up with me. He just like kind of disappeared.
It was really bizarre.
We had been like seeing each other for 6 months. I should have known them because he was like, you're not my girlfriend. And I was like, what do you mean?
You're like, why aren't we putting the label on it?
And he's like, well, we're committed. And I was like, doesn't that mean girlfriend? Like, I was like, I don't get it. It was
People
very
that
strange.
Don't put labels on things. Red flags.
Absolutely red flags. So but he didn't break up with me. And so like, it's like, is he dying?
No, literally we were like, is he okay?
Well, because at one point he said he had COVID.
Yeah.
So there was just a lot of weirdness. And so he just would not dump me. He was like, I'll call you. I promise I'll call you on X day. Like later so it was like the next day. And the next day came around. He did not call me. Mm-hmm. Like I'm sitting waiting for this phone call. Because like, is he breaking up with me? Or is he literally just dying of COVID? We don't know. So I showed the fuck up. I drove. It was a very long drive. And I just banged on his door until he picked up. Like, you know what I mean? He still didn't break up with me.
Yeah.
He still tried to bullshit me and be like, well, no, it really is just that I've been sick and that I have this stuff going on and I'm going to reach back out to you. He didn't. But so I get that on Lavender's perspective. You're like, why would you assume that? That's crazy.
It is crazy.
Anyway, Ron's a villain. Lavender rocks.
I know. So yeah, we don't see her for a long time. And then she's a part of the Battle of Hogwarts. Right. And this is where things get interesting. Because in the film, we see that she dies. Which is horrible.
I cry every time.
Okay.
From Frenier, Greyback.
Yes. And in the books, it's one of those instances where it's not clear if she died.
Yeah. She was definitely on death's door.
She was on death's
she
door.
Saved in time? I don't know.
Who knows? But she could have, become a werewolf. She could be dead. Who knows?
It's very unclear. Which makes sense, I guess, in some ways for a battle.
Yeah.
But it's Hermione, actually, that clocks it. And she screams, and she blasts Frenier. Oh my gosh. Why do you have to jump with your claws? She blasts Frenier off of Lavender's feebly stirring body. That's the quote.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say what that means. Yeah, was she bitten already? I don't know. And then, okay, but this is funny. Breaking it up a little.
Yeah.
I have to bring this up because it was so funny when I reread it.
Yeah.
Trelawney apparently is up on one of the stairwells, and suddenly Frenier is hit with a big glass ball, like a prophecy ball. And Trelawney's just yeeting them out of her bag at villains.
Yeah.
It's an unhinged battle tactic, but we're here for it. But I think it is powerful that she was part of saving Lavender when they had such a relationship, honestly.
Of course.
And I think Lavender, I mean, we have to give this to her. Lavender, objectively, that was a traumatic second, whatever, relationship.
Whatever. Traumatic relationship, period.
She was not clearly broken up with, and it appears to be that she was gaslit.
Yeah.
Very deeply. about the relationship with Hermione.
Yeah.
So that's got to be confusing because you're like, well, but he said this, but this is what I'm seeing. Like,
yeah, the math ain't mathin'.
And that makes you kind of second guess your own intuition. So like, she's really gone through it. But obviously we have the broader context of there's a wizardry war.
Yeah.
And I think Lavender, with everything she'd been with, you could have seen her not fighting in this battle. Which obviously, I'm not saying that's what she should have done.
No, but you could see why if she was like, I'm out.
Yeah, you could honestly see that. But that's not what happens. Mm-hmm. Lavender does fight in this battle. She does show the fuck up, like all the DA members. Mm-hmm. She is doing her thing. And then, I mean, potentially she's a werewolf now. She's going to be an outcast of society.
Yeah.
And I do think Hermione knocking Fenrir from her, I like to think that's Hermione, like, has finally, not just because she's with Ron, I like to think it's because, you know, because she calls Ron out finally on his shit.
Yeah.
In book 7. Mm-hmm. Right before he leaves. She's like, no.
Yeah.
This is messed up. And then when he comes back, she's like, this is messed up. And so I like to think that she's grown to a point where she can recognize what happened was not okay.
Yeah.
Between them the entire time.
I would love to believe that.
We can believe it. Yeah. I'm fine with it. Oh my god, I came across a crazy quote.
Yeah.
That's nothing to do with Lavender.
Okay.
Well, kind of.
Tangentially.
Let's go. Hermione at one point, she had ran away crying when Ron did the thing where he's like making fun of how she jumps up and down when she knows the answer.
Yes.
She ran away into the girls' bathroom. She's sobbing. Harry decides that Hermione needs him more than Ron needs him because she's the one crying.
Period.
And so he goes after her, and Luna's comforting her.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, Luna's like, she said something about Ronald Weasley, and Harry's like, yeah, they've had a falling out. And Luna says, yeah, he can be pretty funny, but he's also quite rude. I noticed that last year. Mm-hmm. And Harry says, like, thinks to himself something along the lines of, like, you know, Luna once again did the Luna thing where she says a very uncomfortable truth out loud that no one knows what to do with.
Yes.
And I think, like, that's the problem with book Ron. Because I think, like, movie Ron's fine. Like, he's just vanilla toast. But
yeah,
book Ron is actively cruel all the time to so many people, including Harry.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I mean,
actually.
They had their period of time in the 4th book where they weren't friends.
A huge period of time, which, what a betrayal. But then also, he even, like, Ron, or Harry mentions this interesting line where he's, like, in the 6th book, where he's having to dodge all the mistletoe around Christmas. Mm-hmm. But because Ron now has a girlfriend that he's making out with, Lavender Brown, Ron finds it funny, and Harry's like, thank God, because normally he would get jealous. Mm-hmm. Because Harry gets all this attention and he doesn't. Mm. And while we have said on this podcast, when we give him grace, that he has been overshadowed in his life.
Oh, yeah.
We've said that.
Yes.
To act out on it that constantly with your friends is crazy. Mm-hmm. And he's also casually rude and nearly headless Nick.
He's casually rude to so many people.
Everybody.
To everybody. It's
his personality. I don't even think that's something he can fit. Like, that's who he is he's a cruel man.
Yeah.
Period. Anyway, so Lavender Brown fights in this battle and hopefully survives. But either way, I like teared up about it this morning, actually.
Yeah.
Because I just see this girl who's like doing her, yeah, she still likes ribbons and divination and whatever.
Her best.
But yeah, she's still showing up and fighting. She was in the DA. She was doing all these things. She's doing her best to fight for what is right in the world, and like has been kind of painted as this villain and this joke,
especially in the films.
Yeah. I think when we were all young, it was all over internalized misogyny. We're like, oh, she's being annoying.
Yeah,
it's like, no, she's just being a person.
She's just being a cute girl. That's just not how Hermione is. Like, she's just an opposite.
Yeah, she's just opposite.
She's just opposite to Hermione.
You know, it's funny because I read this study that what makes us happiest is actually when we feel wonder.
Oh,
like that's what
I like that.
Yeah, it was like it's like a Harvard class. It's like how to be happy or some shit. And they do it online. I don't know. Anyway, but they talk about how it's like play is a key component of that, like playing. And it's because that, I think that's why a lot of advice is like, oh, make sure you're doing new things and like things like that.
Or like revisiting what you like and being, you know, yeah.
And I feel like, so in a lot of ways, I actually think Lavender you know, I love Hermione.
Yeah.
But I think Hermione, in order to fit in where she's already Muggle, had to work harder than everyone else to be accepted by the society.
Yeah.
She had to be the best. Like, I've no doubt that Hermione's always been the best.
Yeah, no, but she had to make a point to fit in and survive.
And also, there's a lot of knowledge, and this gets addressed multiple times, too, in the books, where, like, there's a lot of knowledge that these Muggle-borns just don't have. Mm-hmm. You know, like, the fairy tales that these kids grew up with,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
or casual terms that aren't going to be in a fucking textbook, but are, like, key to how you live as a witch or wizard. And so I think, like, Hermione's trying to overcompensate for it through books. I actually think it's a trauma thing.
I think so, too.
And so I think part of that is, I wonder if she completely pushes down sort of those more feminine qualities, because being a woman on top of being a Muggle-born would be too much in this world.
And so she could be, like, fit in, taken seriously.
Yeah. So people would just take her seriously. And because we do see she clearly likes being beautiful. I mean,
we see it in the 4th book.
Yeah, when she goes to Yule Ball, and, you know, how long, and she does say, like, it would be too much for every day to do what she does to her hair. But, like, she clearly very much enjoyed that process until Ronald ruined it for her.
Right. I mean, and maybe I'm just thinking of, like, the film, but, like, I'm thinking of Bill and Fleur's wedding as well, how they all had to dress nice for that, too.
Sure.
So it's another fun chance for her to embrace that.
Yeah, so I think we see that she does clearly like it, even though she's pretending she doesn't.
Yeah.
So I think in some ways Lavender is, like, an example of, like, you can be intelligent and brave and courageous and still fight the Dark Lord and wear a fucking ribbon.
Yeah.
It doesn't make you Umbridge to wear a ribbon.
Period! Oh my gosh!
Umbridge having kitten plates makes me mad every time I think about it.
Same.
Because it feels like anti-cat.
Yeah.
Okay, every media depiction, okay, we have McGonagall, but, like, every media depiction, like, when there's a cat lady, it's, like, the meanest cat that's ever catted.
Yeah.
If there's a cat, he's going to be an asshole or a villain, you know, but if it's a dog, he loves you forever. And I don't know what y'all are doing to your cats, but it's not my experience.
Yeah.
So I just think you're outing yourself as assholes. But it's just, like, the media depictions bum me out. I think Umbridge liking pink and cats fucked our generation up.
Period.
My room used to be pink.
Aww.
I think Umbridge ruined it for me. But to be fair, as a general, I mean, we all go through that with internalized misogyny. Yeah. We learn that being pink makes us use less seriously.
To say, I remember growing up, pink was my favorite color. And then, like, in junior high, and even a little bit of high school, I was like, I don't like pink that much anymore.
Sure.
And, you know, maybe it was, like, I changed, but maybe part of it's like, oh, it's not cool to like pink.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? And then I was like, oh, I like light blue, mint green, when mint green was the hot shit, you know what I mean? And then now I'm like, oh, I just like pastel colors.
I've realized that too. Yeah. It's like light pink, light purple, light blue.
Exactly. The cotton candy colors.
I do. That's an amazing way to put that. I also really like a dark cobalty blue. So like not navy. Yeah. It's bluer than that. Yeah. I really love that.
Is it kind of like your shelves?
A little lighter. It's those are darker.
No,
my
for
favorite.
Sure. Yeah, and now I'm more confident to be like, yeah, bitch, all my shit's lavender.
Yeah.
My phone's lavender. My iPad is.
Yeah. Like we have an aesthetic. It's
pink
fine.
Cups. It literally does not matter.
So cheers to Lavender. She didn't have to go through that whole internalized hopefully Ron didn't fuck her up with everything that went down there. Actually, I could see that and fucked her up. But yeah. But she has it figured out, and I think that that's so powerful in its own right. And I'm so glad we talked about her today.
Me too. It makes me appreciate her so much more.
She's just so cute.
She is so cute.
And Ron, I think the reason it annoyed him is he never actually liked her.
Yeah, I don't think he actually liked her.
I don't think he liked her at any point. I think he was using her for making out.
Period.
Which is really sad.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that's not what she wanted. I mean, we know that's not what she wanted because she's asking if it's a serious relationship.
Yeah, no, 100%. I always was like, he doesn't actually like her. He just likes being physical.
No, because if you're finding her bubbly, like, personality that actively annoying, like, he almost, like, shakes with how annoyed he is with it. In the movie, we see that. That's not normal.
No, absolutely not.
And we've all dated guys like that, where you're like, did you even like me? And it's like, no, they did not, babe.
Yeah.
They're just an asshole. Like,
yeah.
I think most I've dated, I would say that.
Yeah.
They rarely like you. Like, I think a lot of men like the idea of a girlfriend. They don't like that she's an actual human being.
Calling back to the mid-men.
Yeah. What do you mean you have thoughts and personality? What do you mean?
What do you mean I have ideas? What do you mean I can think for myself?
Here's my credit card, shut up. Like,
oh my
gosh.
Anyways.
Except they never have money. So
period. Okay, that's so funny.
Amazing.
But no, I'm so glad we talked about Lavender today.
Me too. So feel free to write in if there's some specific character you want us to do. Mm-hmm. We have the start of a list. Yeah. But it's by no means comprehensive.
Yeah.
We're definitely gonna hit up Winky and Slughorn though.
Yeah.
Winky's gonna be dark, so
that is gonna be dark.
We gotta be in the right.
Yeah, we gotta be in the right headspace for that.
Fucking love Winky.
Yeah,
she's an
icon.
But other than that,
do you have any fan quarter announcements?
Sure. Advent goes live next month, October 18th.
Slay.
They're literally, and this is not me fucking around. This is not me sell extra. There are 10. And specifically because there's an exclusive miniature, full-size miniature in the boxes that I only made 10 of, so I cannot make more. Mm-hmm. So, and maybe I could get more of the boxes that then I, like, glue the stuff on from, anyway. But probably not.
She handmade the entire Advent calendar, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. It is prepared with so much love and care. Please buy it.
There'll be some of the stuff will go live as people unbox them, some of the like early releases, but there's a miniature in that like this is the only way to get it. Mm-hmm. So that goes live. And then my dragons, oh my god, they're so beautiful. I don't know if I understood they were beautiful until I was painting them. I was like, I don't know if I like them, but it's a black fierce dragon and then a littler golden one that hangs out next to him. I don't know if that reminds you of something. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. There's a lot of black fearsome dragons, right? And a lot of franchises, so.
Period.
But I'm really, really fucking excited about them. They're beautiful. And then my unicorns as well. So it's kind of going to be like this fantasy big launch probably next week. Cool. Just like all these random creatures. I'm trying to branch more into that. Cool. And that's all my announcements. So
slay.
Like, subscribe, DM, hit us up.
Give us your opinion.
Repost.
Whatever the words are.
All the things. All the things. We appreciate you listening to us so much. I don't think I say that enough. Yeah. I don't know why you listen to us.
No, it truly makes my day.
Yeah, it's so fun. And I honestly, like, I know that there's a lot of podcasts out there, and like you choosing to spend an hour of your time with us, that means even if you're triple speeding us, that's a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And so anyway, you're all freaking great. Heart. We do it like Taylor Swift, so don't say it's the millennial heart. It's the Taylor Swift heart.
It's the Taylor heart.
I can't do the other. I can do it, but it's like, I actually think it's kind of ugly.
No, I don't like it.
No, Taylor Swift only.
It hurts my fingers. I'm not gonna
practice it. Anyway, okay. Have a magical day, y'all.